are two poems about me being two-spirit. So that means that I'm not fully a woman or a man. I'm somewhere in between. Since I was born, I was told who I was and who I should be. I was put in dresses in every shade of pink. The world was against me before I could even speak. Being treated like a woman means men will stare, follow, yell at, and violate you. It means men will feel entitled to your body, your time, and your thoughts. You will be put in a competition against other women that you never asked to be in. I didn't ask to be sexualized for my body. I didn't ask to be a statistic waiting to happen. I don't want to carry mace wherever I go. I don't want to be paid less than a man. And for the love of God, I refuse to shave anymore. I refuse to be put in a box of what I can and can't say or do. I refuse to be seen as weak, or a bitch, or a piece of ass. I refuse to be seen as a woman. I just want to be tailored. And that's who I will be, with or without your fucking approval. Two-spirit. New beginnings. With all four spirits of the four directions in me, I'm cutting open the box that was placed over my life. My colonizers will not define me anymore, because there's feminine and masculine spirits that live inside me. And they dance as one to the beat of a drum. And I'm not trapped anymore. I'm free. I'm healed. I'm limitless.
Thanks so much, Laird. Our next reader is Gina, Bastone.
So this is a poem I wrote right after I booked a dentist appointment after several years of not going to the dentist. It's called Oral History. People stare into your mouth and see cracks and gaps and holes. You have too few. I have too many teeth. Molars I'm too scared to lose. I could give you my extras, extract them with pliers and screw them into your jaw. Then no one would stare. No one would know either, until a coroner cuts us up or an archaeologist digs us up. Our skeletal histories would reveal the intimate truth of our teeth, the stares you would get then.
Up next, thank you, Gina. I know it very well. Up next, we have Sam Treviño.
Evening all. So here's a newish poem I've been trying out and tweaking. It's called Nero Makes an Omelet. Human beings are like eggs. History has taught us this. All about how we are exquisite shells around golden pre-scramble. Our yolks want to escape though, and this can get messy. It takes practice and a lot of reflection to crack from the inside out. But after a while, it comes oh so easily. All you gotta do is burn incense around your brokenness. Build an altar to your biggest mistakes. A cathedral of heartbreak. A tabernacle of bad intent. Self-destruction can be an art too, and hunger can be a terrible place to start from. So stand a while and appreciate this world collapsing in on itself. This is falling with intent. It is Nero, scratching his fiddle while Rome burns. And maybe it wasn't celebration, but admiration. This is the light that wants to break us open. Thank you so much.
I was so wrapped with all the open micers that I forgot that I was supposed to come up here. Up next, we have Philip Drexler.
folks. I've been known to write a poem or two, but I'm actually a storyteller. I work at the state hospital as a recreation therapist, but really my passion is therapeutic storytelling. And, you know, what I specialize is in working with people with trauma and using storytelling to help them with their trauma. So we've been through a trauma here in this country, especially the last couple of weeks since Charlottesville. So I was thinking about this story that I heard in Ken Burns' Civil War documentary many years ago. So, you know, this is a true story because Ken Burns, he exhaustively researches all of these stories that he tells in his documentaries. So this is a true story. And it took place at the Battle of Shiloh in 1862, which took place in southwest Tennessee. And the reason that battle is called Shiloh is not because the name of the place is Shiloh, but it's named after the Dunkard church that sat in the middle of the battlefield. It was called the Shiloh Church, so that's why it's called the Battle of Shiloh. And during that battle, the Confederates set up a hospital inside that Shiloh church, that Dunkard church. So there was a Union soldier fighting out in front of that Dunkard church, the Shiloh church, during the Battle of Shiloh in 1862. And he took a bullet below the belt. And that bullet passed through him and through the walls of the Shiloh church. And it ended up lodging in the stomach of a young Confederate nurse. It was easy to get that bullet out of her, and she was able to resume her duties pretty quickly. And they brought that Union soldier in to be treated, eventually by her. Because of course in war, you treat everyone that they bring in off the battlefield, whether they're of your side or the other. And so of course he had a long convalescence. He was there in that hospital for many weeks after the battle had ended. And as it developed, he and that young nurse, they developed a friendship. And eventually, that friendship began to be in a real attraction. And eventually, it seemed to deepen into a sort of affection. But the really amazing thing about this story is that it developed that about 2 months after the battle was over, that young nurse was found to be pregnant. And they had not fooled around with each other. It was apparently the first recorded case of artificial insemination in history. The bullet had done the job. Well, they did get married. They had developed that kind of affection for each other, and the man was an honorable man. And the reason that story strikes me as something worth telling right now is that it tells you that in war or even in conflict like we're in today, it's rarely one side against the other. There's all kind of complicating factors. People on every side of every issue have different backgrounds that they're coming from. And we really need to start finding a way to look at each other as people and find a way to dialogue with each other one-on-one if possible, but if not, in a small group somehow and talk to each other as human beings. Because that's really what that story illustrates. And that's my story.
Thank you, Philip. We just have a couple of more open micers left before we head on to our featured reader. Up next, we have an ice cream regular, Jenny Keto.
So I'm going to read a poem that was recently accepted for publication by a literary magazine called The Broken City. They were doing a series on death. So this is a really humorous one. Not really. It's called Persephone Sleeps. What else is there to do when all left over is seen from under some life asunder? She sees memory, a sea anemone. She breathes as seconds repeat, like her heart beat, drowns out mermaid murmur from her last ground symphony above. She echoes inside ears for years like a pebble's skip, loop, skips, sustained sounds sip circles, but can never quite sink far enough to muffled cacophony, cochlea of drums on coffin, liquid melatonin drams, damned dreams, sleep, wake, and her 7 evenings sing sad siren songs. Threnodies she weaves that creep in solstice sleep, slip hands tight around her neck, tight, hard hands against her chest, shallow breath strokes at night to lost melodies. A glimmer that leaves her. She floats just under life. She floats just above salt, saline. She leans, seeped from eyes to her earth. Buried far enough under to forget who she cried for, close enough above to know why her sky rains days away.
Thanks, Jenny. Our next open micer is Morgan Laird.
Hi. This is my second time doing open mic here, and each time I'm shaking like a little chihuahua because physiological reactions are no joke. This is an untitled poem that I sort of wrote on the way here, but some of it's older as well. I thought about it because I used to work at a nursing home, like with a lot of people that had dementia, and so it's kind of about that. I'm an antiquity laid to rest on a Tempur-Pedic mattress, rising only to monitor a turbulent face in the mirror, where President Ike disappears somewhere between my ears and a milk carton. He boarded up my living room, orphaning families of light. All the newspapers defer back to 1954, where each memory can be traced to a scraped knee in a disembodied era before my executioner grew timid between smoke breaks. In the meantime, I've grown sympathetic towards brazen pity and the stones in my dampened pockets. But wasn't it just last week Mary said she got raped by a man with no hands, and Daddy popped her one right in the face for the pageantry of it all? Mary with disheveled pride. Mary all worked up in a fervor with frantic toes and hair pressed numbly to her face, sweat from 16 years ago. But the temperature in Tallulah yesterday never did hit 102, and from my observations, the grocery was always sterile. I said to the man, "Yeah, you have a good day." He replied, "You too." The both of us. We felt pretty good about that exchange.
Rounding us out with the open micers tonight is Nicholas Jimenez.
Hey everybody, this is like a flash fiction piece, so like a really short fictional story. It's also written in the second person, so there's a lot of you words in it. You fall in love with a girl. You pine for her every day. You become friends. You go on casual dates. You think she's the most angelic thing you've ever seen. You have long conversations. You agree with everything she says. You want to be official. You have reservations. You wish she would initiate. She doesn't. You let time go by. You keep seeing her. You finally ask her out. She says no. She says it's not you, it's me. You wait 2 weeks. She texts you. She says she wants to try dating after all. You agree. You go on a real first date. You are nervous. You both go dancing. You have the time of your life. You walk her home. She kisses you. You kiss her back. You're ecstatic. You go on another date. This time her roommate comes along. Odd, but you'll have a good time. This is the last time you'll be in a relationship with her. You try to meet up again. She makes excuses. Your attempts fail. You don't hear from her for 2 months. You long for closure. You finally hear from her again. You go to a show together. She tells you she's sorry for ghosting you. She tells you she has bipolar. She tells you she was and is addicted to meth. She tells you she quit her job and ran away from home. She tells you she's been traveling out of state with friends. She basically tells you how much you don't matter. You feel devastated. You are so desperate. You want to cling on to her. You want to stay friends, no matter the world of pain she has brought. You want her to get better. She tells you she's not working a job. You ask her plans. She tells you she doesn't know. You ponder this. You can offer her a job where you work. You know this is kind, but you know working with an ex can only lead to bad things. You have no self-respect. You offer her this. She tells you thank you, and will consider it. She reminds you she doesn't want to date anyone until she gets better. You lose touch. She always is distant. You fight so hard. You humiliate yourself. Trying to reach out, trying to invite her to things. You don't want to let go. Your friends beg you to let go. You wither away. You can't attach yourself to anything else. You realize you have mental illness. You realize that your meth is her. You keep throwing yourself at her, knowing that all is lost. Your final Hail Mary is to remind her about the job. She tells you she doesn't know, but she'll get back to you. She doesn't get back to you. You have to keep hounding her. She eventually says yes. She wants to work with you. You are now equal parts happy and miserable. You know you need to quit this addiction, and now you're pulled in for another hit. You become coworkers. You hope this will make it easier to be friends. It doesn't. You feel used. You know she has no debt to you, but you hope that proximity would change that, and it has not. Your friends beg you to keep your distance. You don't. You see her date your coworker one day. You see them always make time for each other. You become sad, but you have the realization that you need to let go. You become aware that you only can fix this problem. You finally want to become clean. You finally quit her.
Thank you, Nicholas. Alrighty, anyone else inspired before we take a break? So many uninspired people in this room. No,
You're all
so
very
grateful.
inspiring.
Yeah, no, half of y'all read. Yeah, that was we love seeing a full open mic. So we're really happy. Makes me really thrilled. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick break. What are you thinking?
5 minutes sounds